How we doing, guys? Doing all right? I got to tell you something now. What an honor and how humbling it is to be a part of one of the greatest brands in all of college athletics, and to have the opportunity to be a part of something that's real special. You know, you look out and you see that stadium, and you think about all the great people and players and tradition that has been built at the University of Florida, and that's something that is so exciting. That's something that not everybody, you know, I grew up in Montana, okay? This is things that you dream about. And yet along the way we've had the opportunity to learn a lot of great things, meet a lot of great people, and really learn life lessons that help you be successful. And that's kind of the goal here. You know, not only in the athletic department, but when you look at the quality that is the University of Florida and that brand and what it brings with it, I can't tell you how excited myself, my wife, my kids, they've been through a lot now, all right? And for us to be a part of Gator Nation is something that means so much. And as we kind of build this moving forward, you know, I talk about this for the people who are involved in what we do and how we do it. What I would ask is, let's go affect the people around us in a positive way. Let's be part of something special, and let's keep pushing it to the next step. And that's really what it's all about. And as we create the process, as we create the infrastructure, as we put the pieces in place that gives you success, those foundations and fundamentals that all people have, it's not forget one thing. It's about these players. And I want to say this, Coach Muschamp has been very helpful. And you talk about a great guy, a great ball coach, and you know what? He's put together a heck of a staff here that's going to go forward, as I've talked to them, about going and winning a bowl game. That's what it's all about right now. It's about investing in these young men who are here. Because our jobs as educators, our jobs as coaches, are to be involved in young men's lives to help them as they move on down the road. And one of the things that it's going to be, being part of the Gator family, being part of this organization, is going to do nothing more than to better you for the rest of your life. And that's really what it's all about. Guys, I just got to tell you this. This is an honor. I'm excited. I sat on the other sideline in that swamp one day, played against these guys. When you think of the Ring of Honor, when you think about the great players, you think about the great games, you think about the history and tradition that is Gator football. I cannot tell you how proud I am to be a part of that. And I look forward to a long, long history. And, you know, I guess the guy who said it best was when I talked with Coach Spurrier, and he said, Mac, welcome to Gator Country. And you know what? That means a lot. And so I look forward to rekindling a lot of relationships and moving forward. So, you know, with that, guys, would love to take some questions. And you know what? I'll say it again. Proud to be a Gator and looking forward to the challenge ahead. Go ahead. Who do we have?
Raise your hand and I'll give it Pat. Over to the left of you.
Coach, can you just talk about your plans for staffing?
Sure.
Current members of the staff?
Absolutely. I think one of the things, first and foremost, is, you know, these guys have come here and done a great job for this university. We haven't made any plans moving forward right now as to, you know, anything as far as that goes. Obviously, it's an opportunity for me to get around these guys. We'll hit the road next week. Get to as many places as humanly possible from the recruiting standpoint, because it's one of those things, recruit daily or die now, okay? And you know, we've got to make sure we secure a great class. There's some great commitments right now. There's some guys that are waiting to see kind of what's going to happen and what's going on. And, you know, that's the first and foremost that we do is go out and do that. As we kind of look through it, we'll get a chance to visit with everybody in the organization, and it isn't just the coaches. I think the one thing that's lost sometimes is not just the coaches. It's everything that touches the desk of the head football coach. And so a lot of that will be evaluated over time as we move forward and build the infrastructure that is success.
Over here to the right, Gene.
Coach, could you just talk about what you learned as a head coach at Colorado State that was different from what you anticipated just being the coordinator at Bama?
You know, I guess one of the good things is being in a place like the University of Alabama and really learning under guys, one of the greatest. I mean, he was great to me. And yet to see how the organization is built, not just the X's and O's, okay, but actually what goes into the nuts and bolts that is success. And the thing is, success in life, success out on the field, success in the practice field, success in the classroom, all of those things are built, and really that's what helps you. And there were a lot of things that you learn as a first-time head ball coach, which, you know, probably has to do spending so much time with you guys, right? That might be one of them. But really being organized in your time, I think that's one of the most important things. And making sure to make the priorities, you know, that is the players, that are the players. You know, all of those priorities are the things that we need to do. And it was a great opportunity. And I was thankful for it.
Edgar, over to the left.
Yeah, Coach. Who are your influences offensively, and what's the offense going to look like? Are you going to build it around the personnel?
You know, it's pretty interesting. I always get that. It's like, who are you? Well, here's who I am. I'm that dog they dropped off down at the Humane Society, all right? And he has about a little bit of every breed in it. And whatever the situation is, you try to bring that breed out that helps success. And you know, I think first and foremost, where we learned, you know, look, my pedigree, I'm from Montana. I spent 15 years in 1AA football, which is awesome because you wear every hat in the building at one time. You know, I was everything from a PA announcer to a popcorn salesman to also a teacher and an educator at a university. So, you know, as part of the PE department there. So there's a lot of great things you learn. And when you don't have resources, what you do is you actually go study as much as you can and really try to put it in your own terms, your own words. There's not been one thing that I've invented, all right? A lot of the guys in this business think they invented it, right? It's been done, all right? Somewhere along the way, somebody did it before. And I've had great influences on my life as it goes through from the coaching standpoint. And when we get here, it's about the evaluation of the talent that's here. And really accentuate what they do well, adapt to that, and then recruit to some of the areas that maybe we need to get to as we form who we are in an identity. Obviously, we believe in balance, okay? And yet, some games, based on what the defense has taken away, you need to have the versatility to do the other thing, all right? And that's really where it evolves. But as we kind of do this, the one thing is been pretty successful over the years, putting up some pretty good numbers with whoever we have back, whether it's the quarterback, the running back, the wideout, the offensive line. And it's going to be one of those deals that we will develop it based on, first, what we have to play with.
Well, what was the impetus to finally leave your comfort zone? You lived in the West for so many years at the Big Sky Conference, and what was the impetus to move to Louisville and start kind of, you know, pursuing, you know,
well,
get to here?
You know, it's about relationships, number one. The one great thing we know is every place we've been, we've had wonderful people touch our lives. And as a family, we can speak to that. And, you know, as far as moving up, moving on, however you want to work it, you know, the opportunity to be at this place, that's something that drives you. The opportunity to be at the top and really take your shot with the best being the SEC, the best players you're going to play against, the best coaches you're going to coach against. And you know, I never look at anything like that except what a great challenge and what a great opportunity, you know, to match your skills against the best. And that's really what it's all about.
Sam. back to the right, Sam.
Jim, when you met with Jeremy on Tuesday and Wednesday, and it became apparent that both of you thought it was the right fit.
Sure.
Was there a time that you felt like it wasn't going to happen? How determined were you to make it happen? And can you mildly take us through that process when Jeremy came back home and those next 12 hours where you finally got the deal done?
Well, I know this, you know, an opportunity, and look, what you got to understand in collegiate athletics, when certain names come up, Jeremy's name is on the top of that list. And as he did the research on me, I did the research on him now. Okay, I didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday, all right? And every person that I talked to spoke of integrity, quality, great person to be with. And it didn't disappoint when he was able to come over and visit with us, my wife and I at the house, and that was special. And then to meet the other people around that, you know, that's special. And then at that point, really what happens is, you know, let's figure out a way to get this done. And I know how excited I am to be here and how fortunate I am to have this opportunity.
Was there a time you felt like it wasn't going to happen?
You know, I'm kind of one of those guys that, you know, look, I adapt pretty well to whatever happens, all right? I knew, I had a hunch. I thought a long time it would get taken care of. And you know what? The one thing you always do is look, you got to keep treating each moment like it's, you know, it's its own. It's just like the game of football. Every play has a history in life of its own. Okay? Go win that play, right? That's what we do. And in that case, I'm just excited that it worked out, and I know Karen and I are really excited to be here.
George in the back to the left.
Yeah, Coach, over here. You always have some skin in the game in terms of, you talk about closing the deal, and you know, you put some of your own money up to make sure it happened. Can you just talk about the momentum and the motivation to make sure this thing got done?
Well, you know, you got to understand this is there's only a couple of these in the United States of America, and one of those is the Florida Gators. And to be able to have that opportunity is something that, you know, I'm not sure I could have lived with, you know, if given that opportunity to let it pass by. And, you know, I'm never one to let things kind of pass by. I kind of roll up my sleeves and go get it done, and that's really what it's all about.
Christian over to the left.
Coach, kind of piggybacking off of that, what do you think of those who say there may be some added pressure because of the much publicized buyout?
You know, here's the beauty. Pressure, man, it's awesome, right? I mean, that's why we do this. I mean, if the one thing that I love is pressure. Now, I never look at it as feeling the pressure. I always look at it as applying the pressure. And I'm excited about that part of it. So, you know what, if there's no pressure, why wake up in the morning, right? That's really what drives me anyway.
Being in Colorado, I know you had 6 kids from Florida on your roster there. How have you been able to continue those contacts from being out there, and do you think you'll be able to, will you have to rekindle some of those from coming back here?
Well, I think, you know, here's the thing is I recruited Florida when I was at the University of Louisville. I recruited Florida when I was at Michigan State. Recruited Florida, obviously, for the University of Alabama. So what I'm excited about most of anything is rekindling the relationships. In fact, one of my good friends and former coach Bradenton Southeast sitting right over here, Coach McElwain, and you know, that goes way, way back when I first got into this state. And you know, being able to go do that, seeing those guys, I'm excited. I'm going to hit the road on Monday morning. I'll be back, times unknown, as soon as it becomes dead again, which is the following week. And probably what I'm most excited about is rekindling the relationships and getting back involved with a lot of the players that we had an effect on their lives. And that's really what it's all about.
Mark up front, then Robbie.
Obviously, winning games is the key.
Yeah, that's a big key, by the way. If somebody told me that's what we're supposed to do, right? Okay, I like that. That's a good opener.
But getting to that point, you got to fix this offense.
Sure.
It's been pretty stagnant for 5 years now. What's the plan doing that? And spread? Is it a daunting task?
Well, I think when it goes, when you talk about the what, right? You don't know what it is until you evaluate what's there. And, you know, that's got to be first and foremost. Look, historically, the ability to get explosive playmakers and get the ball in the guy's hands and, you know, teaching a quarterback to throw it to the right colored jersey. I mean, you know, the simplicity of this is really what it's all about, right? And so, you know, I look at it as a great challenge, but I also look at it, look, when you look from a historical standpoint, it can be done. And whether it needs fixed or not, I'm not the guy that's going to say they've got good coaches here, it just didn't work, okay? And so, you know, from that, that's my responsibility to make sure not only do we do that, but understand this, it takes 3 phases. It isn't just offense, it isn't just defense, and it isn't just special teams. So how do those work together cohesively to help you win the ball game? And that's really what we're here to do.
You've done pro style and spread. Any preference as to what you stick with now?
Yeah, whatever works.
Robbie, both have not worked here.
Oh, I don't know. I've seen some pretty good stuff that's worked here in the past, and you know, we'll get that going.
This team came close to winning 8 or 9 games. Is it a different rebuilding project that you face in Colorado State?
Well, you know, you got to understand historically, this was only the 4th team I think in the history of ball that had 10 wins, and it's going to go get an 11th because they're going to go win that bowl game, and there's something very satisfying. There's great people there, and it's in great hands, and you know, the opportunity here, okay, to recruit a place that has unbelievable talent and a place that has a history of winning, a tradition of winning. So those are the things you kind of look at. And, you know, every task you handle is big, okay? It doesn't matter. Brushing your teeth in the morning sometimes is really big, right? Well, I got to tell you this. The bigger, the better. That's really what it's all about, and that's why I'm here. So I'm excited to get out on the road and do some recruiting, actually.
You were back to the left, Stuart.
You were born in Butte, Montana?
No, I was born in Kalispell, raised in Missoula. But those guys in Butte are tough guys now.
Well, I wondered if your philosophies were ever influenced by the most famous resident ever from Butte,
Evel Knievel. I love it. That's pretty good, man. I know this. I learned not to ride motorcycles or jump cars. That's the one thing I did learn.
Thomas over here to the right. Brett Fox goes to the right.
Jim, you've talked a lot about kind of building your system around the players. At what point do you get to the evaluation process of what you'll have to work with?
I've already started that. The beauty of technology now, right? As soon as this kind of came to fruition, my focus was simply, let's get to work. So that's already started. We've already met on recruiting. We had an extensive meeting through late last night, so if I look a little tired, all right, there might be a reason, okay? And but you know what? This is one of those deals that first needs to be evaluated. You don't make snap judgments, right? And what you got to do is you got to sit back, reflect, learn, take in, and then make the process move forward.
Who did you meet with?
The entire staff. In the football organization part of it, you know, and then we'll do that again here today and tomorrow, and then we'll set the road recruiting.
Jonathan over here to the left.
Jim, I know you mentioned earlier that no decisions were made about the coaching staff yet, but you also mentioned how important that is to recruits. So
yeah.
What's the ideal time to get that finalized to your entire coaching staff?
Well, here's the key. Get the best. Get the best that's a fit for the university, right? Get the best that's a fit for the area, and we'll do that very diligent. And, you know, I'm not sure there is a timeline, you know? I mean, look, this is who I am. if you can't look at the track record and say this is what happens, right, when he gets around, you know, we'll make it right.
And you also mentioned that this is one of the premier jobs in the country, but Michigan and Nebraska also opened up. Did they contact you at all, or did you have any inkling to maybe think about going there?
I'm a Gator.
Holly, in the back to the left.
I liked your enthusiasm with that answer. You had mentioned that you had spoken with Steve Spurrier. He welcomed you to Gator Country.
Yeah.
What advice did he give you? And you also mentioned that you steal some plays from other people's bag of tricks.
Well, in fact, he's got one that we actually used against him. All right, and that I've actually carried with me, and we call it Cadillac. Why? Why not? Okay, I don't know, because he didn't teach it to me, but I looked at it enough on film on cut-ups, right? You know, he's a guy I had an opportunity to meet, you know, previously with an organization that we were together with, you know, and you know, he's one of those guys I've always kind of looked at what he's done. You know, the great thing about video now, and you know, before it was cutting up 16mm film and taping it together and all that kind of stuff. Now I'm actually able to get it, organize it, put it in files, and study it. And obviously, the brand of ball he plays is something that I've always admired from afar.
So we might see some fun and gun back here.
I don't know what you call it, but it'll be a blast.
Coach McElwain, welcome to Gator Country.
Well, thank you very much.
Do you have a name for your offense at all? Just call it the Alabama offense around here. What is your offense?
How about the Humane Society?
I want to ask you about your receivers, as one person said earlier, Mark, getting the ball to the guy in the right colored jersey sounds simple, but isn't simple. You had one guy in Fort Collins who did. Rashard Higgins was phenomenal. I think he leads the nation in total yards and
total yards, touchdowns.
Yeah,
yeah.
So
not a bad ball player.
Yeah, as simple as that sounds. How did you get him open and get the ball to him? So
you know, it's interesting. You know, being with different philosophies along the way, right? There was one when you got on your call sheet. It says "get it to." Okay, it's pretty simple. All right. There's this column that says "get it to." And that means get it to the guy that can score, right? You know, I bet you Coach Donovan over there, you know, they actually run plays for a guy to get open for a three-pointer, right? You know, I'm guessing. And by the way, I'm a huge basketball fan, so I'll probably be bothering the heck out of it, okay? But, you know, it's about get it tos, and then it's about finding who those people are and then determining situations and touches throughout a game for you to be successful. And you got to do that through multiple formations, multiple shifts, because people can start to take guys away if they're just standing in one position, you know. So that's where the multiplicity of what you're trying to accomplish comes to fruition.
Thank you.
Pat, or to the left, and then Richard, pass to the left.
Can you just talk about when Will was fired 3 or whatever it was 3 weeks ago? And where was the moment when you went, I wonder if I have a chance at that job? Was there a
You know
moment?
what? I think even before then, and you know, let me tell you something. You talk about one of the great guys in this game, and one of the great ball coaches in this game. That's Will Muschamp. But when you said that, I would say this. The first time I was actually in this state recruiting, that's when I knew I wanted to be a Gator. Because I saw the influence and saw what it's all about. And so, this goes a long time. You know, I'm sitting here, what was that, Paul? We were together when I was at Montana State, but it was shortly after that. I can't remember. It's been a while. You know, I'm not real good on math. You know, Eastern Washington education, you know, sorry. Nothing against the red turf now. You guys seen that stuff? Okay, so let me tell you a story about that, all right? So we're at Alabama, and some guy comes and says they want to put red turf at Eastern Washington University. Well, at the time, we put a little nest egg together for an outdoor kitchen because I love to cook, you know, I love that's kind of what I do, right? Well, all of a sudden, about a 5x5 square of the red turf was basically our outdoor kitchen, wasn't it, Karen? Isn't that about the deal? So
Coach, you talked about obviously that Colorado State and Florida are two very different places, but were there things that you want to do immediately there that you also want to do here?
Absolutely. And that's build the infrastructure, develop the process, and create the environment that is successful in today's world of college football. You know, things change, man. You got to be on the cutting edge, and there's a lot of things within that, and yet I'm not prepared to say what, because I haven't had a chance to evaluate exactly the what, if that makes sense. So I guess the good thing is seeing the model, all right, and then adapting that to whatever place you're at is really kind of what it's all about, and I look forward to getting that place here.
And being your first head coaching job at Colorado State, what are some things that you did there that maybe didn't work, and kind of looking in the mirror, how did you evolve as a coach?
So you think I'm going to tell you my secrets? You know, the one thing you got to understand, everything starts with relationships. Doesn't matter what business you're in, and doesn't matter what field you're in. You know, that's first and foremost. And so that's my responsibility, build a relationship with each and every player, each and every person in the department, the people on campus, the professors, you know, the people in the administration. That's what it is, because at the end of the day, what do we want? The common goal is to be successful, right? And so that's where it starts.
Zach over to the right.
Jim, as an offensive coach, you've coached at the highest level in the NFL with the Oakland Raiders, coached in Alabama.
Well, some people would have said I didn't coach in the National Football League. I coached at the Raiders, right? Okay, but I got to tell you, what a great experience that was, and I will say this: Mr. Davis was great to me, so I was fortunate for the opportunity.
Yeah, so you've coached there. Obviously, you've coached at Alabama, one of the best football programs in the country. Mm-hmm. Then you've also coached at smaller schools that maybe didn't have the skill set as those places did. How have you been able to adjust with different talent as an offensive coach? How difficult is that, and how have you been able to be successful?
Well, I think with that, number one is being able to adjust, adapt, and overcome, right? And have enough security in who you are and what you're all about to go ahead and do what it takes for that unit to be successful. And look, every year you're going to have new players. That's the way it is. And so, you know, whether it's having to throw it 80 times a game, whether it's having to throw it 40 times a game, you know, it really depends, number one, on who you have, number two, how that fits and matches with your defense, and how the special teams can change field position. Those are all the keys. And at the end of the day, whether you have 2 yards on offense or 900 yards on offense, win the game, right? I always get a kick out of all these people that love their statistics. Well, let's look at the win and loss, right? You know, and that's a overall thing with an organization and a program to be successful.
And the next time we see you is probably be on signing day when you have your class. You know,
do I get to see him on signing day? Is that the deal? You haven't told me that yet. All right. So here's what I want to know. Wait a minute. What's he served? What's he served for lunch and stuff when we do this stuff? I gotta know, right? I'm doing an interview too here.
I like the food.
What is it?
I like the mix of everything. They got something different every week.
Well, what's your favorite?
Probably the
chicken parmesan.
Chicken, yeah. Chicken parmesan.
We gotta adjust that now. All right.
Are you gonna cook for us?
You know what? I hope to have the time.
But next time we see you, Coach, you'll have your class. You know, how would you describe yourself as a recruiter, and what's going to be your message to guys to get them to come here? And build
well, number one, you got an opportunity to win a national championship. But first and foremost, it's about what that's going to do for the rest of your life, what being a Gator is, and then adjusting to that and understanding, look, we're here to make sure that your experience is going to do nothing but set you apart for the rest of your life. And that's what it is to be a Gator.
Antonio over here to the right.
Right here. I've got a couple, so don't run.
I'm sorry.
First of all, you mentioned relationships and building relationships, and I read in the Colorado paper, one of the Colorado papers, that you were emotional when you went in to talk to your team, and I'm just wondering how that was considering how you went in, helped turn around, and I'm sure the bond you had with them.
That was that was hard. And why was it hard? Because these young men truly invested in something that was bigger than themselves. And they gave of themselves and really changed the culture. And I was so proud of them. And they'll always, obviously, have a special bond in my heart. But that's who I am. I care about people. And I want them to be successful so bad. And you know what? I owe them a lot. And you know what? Those guys meant the world to me.
Did you talk to Coach Saban about this job, and if so, what did he tell you?
No, he's busy right now.
he mentioned that he mentioned something about it.
Yeah,
so I hope you talked to him.
he obviously is a guy that means a ton to me, and for him to take a chance on an unknown guy from out west to come run his offense and be a part of, you know, one of the best organizations, you know, from that standpoint. I owe him everything, and he's been very supportive ever since then. His wife Terry is fantastic with Karen. You know, I owe him a lot, and you know, I hope the next time I see him, will actually, is that findable?
Yeah. He's got the next question.
But I hope the next time we see each other is probably in Atlanta, right? Around this time of year.
The last one for you. I don't know how deeply you've gotten into your evaluations, but can you win with the quarterbacks that Florida has on this, or do you have to go out and get yourself a quarterback?
You know, I don't think that's fair yet. I haven't, you know, been with them yet. I haven't, you know, I've seen some things, but I think being able to watch them kind of interact with the team, see how they practice, you know, we'll get an idea. But you know, you got to understand this. I believe I can win with my dog Clarabelle. So you know, that's, you know, I mean, but that's the attitude. So you know, there's good players here, and that's just our responsibility to get that going.
Coach, you're known as an offense guy, but also as a quarterback guy. You know, you've helped develop guys like McElwain, McCarron, and of course, your kid at Colorado State's going great guns. What's the key to doing that? And do you consider yourself a quarterback?
Eliminate the clutter. That's the key. Eliminate the clutter and understand the important things. And first and foremost, the important thing is affecting the people around you in a positive way. That's first and foremost. Second thing is, be one of those guys that's going to outstudy every person there is on what you need to do from a game plan standpoint, what you need to do from a characteristic standpoint to stand apart. And the last thing is throw it to the colored jersey we're wearing.
Steve in the back to the left.
Hi, Coach. You went to Colorado State, and you didn't; those kids didn't know you. You turned it around quickly. They, I guess, bought in. What kind of a process?
I'd say so.
Yeah. What kind of a process was that to go through, and what will you do here to get these kids to buy into you?
Well, you know, it's hard because it's changed. You know, each one of our lives, anytime anything's different, right? There's a sense of, oh, you know, what's next? And yet, you know, one of the things is it's about building the relationship and building the trust. You know, these guys are going to know, look, I'm not one of these guys going to come in and say, hey, you're someone else. No, that isn't how it works. You're Gators. I'm a Gator. Give me that opportunity to be part of your life and impact it in a positive way. It's not for everybody. You know, those are choices and decisions we all make. And, you know, my deal is to understand, you know, you trust me, I trust you. You know, that's a two-way street, and developing that, you know, it happens over time, and you know, it's hard, and yet, you know, I look forward to that. I look forward to being part of these guys' lives. This isn't just about ball now. This is about creating a brand for yourself, and this is about setting you apart for the rest of your life, and that's kind of been how I do it, and I look forward to being involved in these guys' lives. And part of that is when it's ball games. And so, you know what, I've got a blueprint on kind of how that works, and yet every place is different. So you need to adjust the blueprint based on what's there. It's that simple.
Time for a couple final questions. Daniel to the left.
Hey, Coach. Have you talked to any players individually yet, and when will you meet with them?
You know, I haven't. You know, what we'll do is have a team meeting on Monday morning. What is today?
Saturday.
Today's Saturday? Yeah, okay, good. All day? Well, you didn't tell me you were going to make them work on Saturday. What the heck? Is that right? But we'll have that visit then.
What message do you want to get across to them?
Embrace what they're doing. You're Gators. Let's go win a bowl game, right?
Speaking of the bowl game, what will be your role during that process?
Eating popcorn. I want to see what the normal guy does. Maybe we'll go tailgate. I don't know. Can we do that, Bernie? You and I? We go set up a grill.
Over here to the left, Larry in the back to the right.
Hi, Jim. Welcome. There have been dozens of very positive comments about you getting the Florida job from kids you coached at Alabama, as well as some of your Colorado State players as well. What has that meant to you?
Well, you know, each and every person, you get an opportunity to affect somebody. You get an opportunity to be a part of something special, and that's a young man's life. And that means a lot. And, you know, that's really what we're put on this earth to do, is be a big part and help young men. And I've had some great guys now.
And in the event you try to win with Carabelle, is it safe to assume you run the spread rather than a pro style?
You ought to see how quick she is. She can really go now.
Final question. We'll land it over to the left, and we'll wrap it up with Gene to the right.
Coach, you've worked with some pretty good running backs, obviously, over your time. Just what do you plan on
not bad ones. And you know what's amazing? They make you a pretty good coach, too.
What do you plan on instilling in Kelvin Taylor and some of those other guys?
Well, I think the one thing they're going to be able to look at is say, you know, this guy's had some guys, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll fit the system to, you know, whatever their traits are. You know, we were different, obviously, with Eddie than we were Trent, than we were Mark, right? Mm-hmm. You know, I just left a place where last year the running back led the country, I think, in touchdowns. I think Capri did, you know. That ain't bad. Right? And then replaced him this year with a guy, obviously, in D that you know, took off. And so, you know, I think if there's a running back out there, they might want to take a look.
Coach, when you were at Alabama, did you feel Florida was the other program in the SEC that where you felt a coach would have the best opportunity to win?
Well, I think that goes back to answering when I first started recruiting, you know, this area and getting a feel for what the South is and what the Southeast Conference is. And, you know, it is one of those. And there aren't many of them. And that's what makes this such a great challenge, a great honor, is to be part of Gator Nation. All right, we good?
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.